everybody, and welcome to Self-Help FAQ, the YouTube channel. And this is video 4 in our 12 video series about boundaries and all the subcategories of boundaries. And today what I'd like to talk about is something you might not think about for boundaries, but it is about your identity, who you are as a person on the inside, and how to protect it. Why does it need protecting? Well, I think it's because we get pulled in many different directions till suddenly we feel like we don't know who we are. And this happens slowly. For instance, you feel pressure from other people in relationships, and there are expectations, and perhaps you're being pulled in a different direction at work and maybe by your family roles. So basically it's who needs what from you. And then one day you just wake up and you think, I don't really even know who I am anymore, because your life just doesn't feel like you. It doesn't feel like what you had planned when you were younger. It feels like you've handed your life over to other people. And many times this just doesn't seem very obvious at first. You say yes when you mean maybe, or you adjust your tone to keep from upsetting people, or you choose what's practical over what's meaningful for you in your life. And you become easygoing at your own expense. And none of this feels wrong in the moment. It feels kind, mature, grown up. But with time, it all adds up. And the cost is that quiet disconnection from yourself and your purpose. And this is where self-negotiation shows up once again. You start bargaining with yourself internally. You say something like, well, this isn't ideal, but I guess it's fine. Other people have it worse. I can deal with this. This is just how life works. And little by little, your preferences don't seem to matter. They don't feel important anymore. And you don't lose your identity because you don't have one. You lose it because you keep explaining it away. So let's think about this for a minute. Your identity, what is it? And what are the roles that you play in your life? Everybody plays different roles in their life. But are your roles your identity or something else? Well, you have roles like you could be a parent, a caregiver, a friend, a daughter. But your identity is who you are, what matters to you the most, what kinds of things drain you, and when is it that you actually feel like yourself? What is it that you need to feel like yourself? And what won't you trade away anymore? So problems arise when the roles that you play are actually telling you what your identity is, instead of who you really are. That's when being needed replaces being known for who you are. When keeping things smooth replaces being honest. And when survival replaces self-expression. So let's think about this. Are there any ways that you can tell that your identity may be getting eroded and it needs protection? Yes, you can feel that. For instance, when there are plans, someone's inviting you out somewhere, they want you to go do what they want to do, and then they cancel, and then you feel relieved. That's a sign. Maybe you have a feeling of resentment, but you can't pinpoint why. That's a clue. You downplay things that matter to you. You feel like a different person depending on who's around you. And everyone does this. I mean, if you meet with a friend versus you meet with a parent versus you meet with a teacher or a clergyman or something, everybody acts a little bit differently depending on who's in front of you. And sometimes you fantasize about starting over rather than making changes. Some people, this appears as moving to a different area because the things are just too hard around you. You don't feel like you can be yourself. and so you move to a different area. Or maybe you move on to a different partner, things like that. None of these things mean something's wrong with you. It just means a part of you needs to be attended to. And protecting your identity doesn't mean that you're going to be rigid. It doesn't mean that you're being selfish. It can mean some things as simple as letting yourself disappoint people occasionally. Never over-explaining your choices. Choosing your own alignment with your values over approval. Saying things like, "This doesn't work for me," without explanation. And allowing other people to manage their own reactions. It also means checking in with yourself a little more often. Saying things like, "Does this still feel like me?" That question alone is very powerful. When your identity is protected, something inside you settles. You stop performing as someone else. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop feeling scattered and feeling pulled apart. You might still have obligations and you might still have constraints, but you're no longer abandoning yourself inside these things. And that's where peace comes from. Not from control, not from protection, but from coherence, everything together working. So if you feel like life is constantly pulling at you, I want to leave you with this. You don't have to disappear to keep things working. And you don't have to shrink to feel loved. And you don't have to negotiate away who you are to survive. Protecting your identity is not selfish. It's how you stay whole in a world that keeps trying to take pieces of you. So with all that, now we're ready for today's journal question. And today's question is, where in my life have I been adjusting myself instead of adjusting the situation? And what would protecting my identity look like there? Hope that helps you narrow down what your identity is for you. I think it has a lot to do with values, protecting your boundaries, not negotiating away who you really are, and just sticking to your guns. And so this brings us to the end of today's video. And I just want to urge you to tune into this week's Follow-Up Friday, because the last few things that we've been talking about have all come together for me as I've been listening to certain conversations and comments and watching some lives on YouTube. And I've come to the conclusion that a few of the things we've talked about, plus one very big trending topic, which is authenticity, they've all converged together so that I find it very necessary, very important and urgent to talk about these topics together, not only for creators out there who are going live, a lot of them are, some are not, but I'm finding that these things are all lining up with that. So it's very important to tune in for Friday for that. And even if you're not a creator, but you just watch videos of creators, it will work for you too. It's the same principles, but I think YouTubers and people that go live, it's 100-fold. So if you've ever felt yourself being pulled apart and you're losing your peace, and it sort of feels like you might be losing your sanity over these things, whether you're a creator or not, this video will be for you. Hope to see you then. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Have a great day, and bye for now.